name is Ellie, and I'm going to be speaking today about the toxic effects of excess sugar and why we need to stop eating it. According to the Center for Disease Control, 1 in 3 people and 1 in 5 children in America are obese today. There's now even an obesity epidemic amongst 6-month-old infants. And since the 1980s, diabetes has tripled. The Center for Disease Control also states that as of 2012, more people on the planet are dying from chronic disease like heart disease and cancer than from infectious disease like HIV or cholera. And this includes all developing countries. Dr. Robert Lustig, a neuroendocrinologist at University of California in San Francisco, says that it's the increase in our refined sugar consumption that's driving all of the chronic metabolic disease that we know about today. We need to stop consuming sugar in excess. The American Heart Association set recommended limits of sugar consumption in 2010, stating that the recommended limits for women were 6 teaspoons of sugar a day, and for men were 9 teaspoons of sugar a day. Well, we're currently well exceeding those limits. The average American is consuming 22 teaspoons of sugar per day. So we need to drastically decrease our excessive refined sugar consumption because it's not only driving weight gain, it wreaks havoc on our livers and it's fueling all of the nation's major killers like heart disease and cancer. Many dietitians and doctors advise their patients that it's all about caloric balance, that we need to just eat less and exercise more to be fit and healthy. They assume a calorie from a piece of steak is the same as a calorie from an Oreo. Sugar is made of 2 molecules, 1 glucose and 1 fructose. Fructose is the bad guy. The liver metabolizes fructose the same way it metabolizes alcohol, and when we eat excess fructose, our liver stores it as toxic liver fat. And this liver fat leads to liver disease, and it forces our pancreas to produce more and more insulin, eventually leading to type 2 diabetes. Research shows that sugar leads to an increase in the risk for cardiovascular disease. In 2011, Dr. Kimber Stanhope, a biologist at University of California, Davis, published findings showing that just after 2 weeks of excess fructose consumption, there was a noticeable increase in artery-clogging cholesterol, which can lead to strokes and heart attacks. And in 2013, a study by researchers at the University of Texas confirmed that too much sugar can set people down a pathway to heart failure. In 2012, Dr. Lewis Cantley, a Harvard professor and head of Beth Israel Deaconess Cancer Center, said that when we eat or drink sugar, it causes a sudden spike in insulin, which fuels 1/3 of common cancers, including colon cancer and breast cancer. The increased insulin from excess sugar consumption enables cancerous tumors to grow. Craig Thompson, the president of Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York, says that many precancerous cells would never require the mutations that turn them into malignant tumors if they weren't being driven by insulin. In 2012, Dr. Fernando Gomez-Pinilla, a professor of neurosurgery at UCLA, says eating a high fructose diet over the long term alters your brain's ability to learn and remember information. Dr. Suzanne de Lamont from Brown University believes that sugar is also to blame for Alzheimer's. In June 2012, her study revealed that the lab animals that were put into an insulin-resistant state all ended up demented. As you can see, excess sugar is destroying our bodies and our brains, so we need to cut it out of our diets. However, some nutritionists, such as Joanne Slavin, a professor of nutrition at the University of Minnesota, voices the concern that people who try to cut sugar from their lives could end up cutting out sugary but nutritious foods such as chocolate milk and fruit juice. Dr. Lustig refutes this point, saying, if you want nutrients, eat real fruit. The fiber in fruit slows down the absorption of sugar in the blood. He says that fruit juices are a disaster, and that the added sugars should just be plain avoided. A 12-ounce serving of orange juice has 41 grams of sugar. That's higher than a 12-ounce can of Coke, which is 39. And each contain about 10 teaspoons of sugar, so drinking just one exceeds the daily allowance set by the AHA. Barry Popkin, a nutrition professor at the University of North Carolina, says the biggest single source contributor to child and adult obesity in the USA is sugar-sweetened beverages. So that being said, one of the first things you can do to really cut your sugar intake is by cutting out sugary drinks. That includes soda, Gatorade, fruit juice, like orange juice. Try substituting these drinks with water, or if you drink for the caffeine, try coffee or tea. Another way to cut out excess sugar is to stop eating breakfast cereal. Try substituting eggs. Eggs are cheap and super quick to prepare and provide a great meal any time of the day. Barry Popkin also published research online in 2013 showing that 80% of the American food supply is laced with sugar. Sugar goes by 56 different names, and according to Dr. Lustig, half of the sugar we eat, we don't even know we're eating. Foods like low-fat yogurt that look healthy are actually packed with sugar. Dr. Lustig says the best way to make sure you're not accidentally eating added sugars is by eating real food. Now this means cutting out processed packaged foods. So try shopping the outer perimeter when you go into a grocery store for the vegetables and meat. And giving up sugar is a tough thing to do. Many people go through withdrawal symptoms for the first couple days or first couple weeks, but you can do it. And the best way to avoid those withdrawal symptoms is to be prepared. Drink a lot of water, get a lot of sleep, and when you have a food craving, turn to fruit. So in conclusion, sugar is not just empty calories. It's a chemical that becomes toxic in excess and it poisons the body. Excess sugar consumption leads to many diseases including type 2 diabetes, cancer, liver, Alzheimer's, and heart disease. And if we want to live to see our grandchildren and be able to fit through standard doorways, we've got to stop eating refined sugar. If we don't act soon, the CDC projected in 2012 that by 2030, the population of Louisiana will be 60% obese. That means the obese will be a majority, and that's only 20 years from now. So women, get your sugar consumption down to 6 teaspoons per day, and men, 9 teaspoons per day. The best way to do this is to eat real food. By cutting out sugar, you can be a role model for your loved ones, and together, you'll be on a journey to a better life, a life without chronic disease. So start now. Take it slow if you have to. 1 soda, 1 glass of juice, 1 little Debbie at a time. Thank you.